Welcome to the Voice for Mount Pleasant podcast, featuring discussions and interviews about the people, places, and events that make Mount Pleasant such a special place.
This is Roger Gaither, your host for the Voice for Mount Pleasant podcast. Today, Mount Pleasant Magazine senior contributing writer Pamela Jouan talks with Joseph Debney, Executive Director of the Charleston County Board of Elections and Registration, about the process of voting in Charleston County for the general election. And now, here are Pamela and Joseph.
Today, Voice for Mount Pleasant is talking with Joseph Debney. He is the Executive Director of the Charleston County Board of Elections and Registrations. So welcome. Thank you for making the time. Very nice to meet you, Joe. Today, we want to just go through the options and procedures in this year's general election specific to Charleston County. So let's just go through the facts. First, what is the deadline to register to vote?
So the deadline to register to vote is really three parts. In person, anyone who wants to come into our office in person and do that at 4367 Headquarters Road in North Charleston can do that by Friday, October 2nd at 5 p.m. Our office will close at 5 p.m. So if you want to do that via email, fax, or at scvotes.gov, you can still do that on October 4th by 11:59 p.m. And lastly, if you're going to mail us a voter registration application, as long as it is postmarked by October 5th, that will be accepted as well.
Let's move to absentee ballots. Who is allowed to vote by absentee ballot in South Carolina?
The good news is the legislature just passed a law that allows every single voter to be able to apply for an absentee ballot in South Carolina.
How can you make that request? And what is the deadline for requesting an absentee ballot?
Anyone can make that request, and it's very easy. In Charleston County, you can do it a couple of different ways. One is you can call us. Our number is 843-744-8683. You can email us at absentee@charlestoncounty.org. You can come actually into our office and do a absentee ballot request in our office at that address, 4367 Headquarters Road in North Charleston. Or you can live chat with us by going to our website at chsvotes.com. You go to that website, there's a chat window that will pop up. You can chat with one of our representatives, and we can process your absentee request and send you that application. And just to walk through that real quick for you, when you request the application, we will physically send you one through the mail. You will get that application, sign and date it, and then mail it back to us. Once we have that in our possession, our ballot will be mailed out to your house. And the deadline to do that by mail is Saturday, October 24th.
So October 24th is the deadline. When can you expect to receive an absentee ballot?
We will be mailing those out immediately once we get your application. So every single day throughout the month of October, we will mail absentee ballots out. And just so everyone understands, we already have gotten 51,000 absentee ballot requests by mail. And so literally today, tomorrow, we will be sending out about 51,000 ballots this week, and hopefully your voters will get them on Monday at the latest.
What do you do if you don't receive your ballot in time? What is kind of the date that you should start to say, I don't have this in hand?
It should only take about 3 to 5 business days at the most to get your ballot. If you do not get your ballot within that time frame, please give our office a call, or you can email us at that email address that we talked about, or live chat with us. And we will be able to look that up. We'll be able to figure out where it is in the system.
If a voter has a question about filling out their ballot, can they call the elections office?
They can call us. We are not going to instruct them on anything other than specifically how to do that. We're not going to instruct them on any candidates or anything like that. We'll just simply walk them through the process of filling that ballot out per state law.
Is there a secret envelope that needs to have the ballot placed inside before it goes into the mailing?
Yes, ma'am. So when you receive your absentee ballot packet in the mail, it will have instructions on how to complete your ballot. It will give you all the envelopes and exactly how you're supposed to put that ballot back in those envelopes. And the good news is postage has already been paid, so you don't even have to add postage to that envelope when you send it back to us. Now, if your folks don't want to send it back through the U.S. Postal Service, they can also drop it off at our headquarters location or at any one of the absentee voting sites that we will open up starting October 5th.
There seems to be an ongoing debate in the courts about the witness signature. Is that settled?
No, unfortunately, it's not been settled just yet, unless anything's changed since we were recording this right now. So currently what the State Election Commission is advising people to do is go ahead and still get your witness signature. That will hopefully, in case something changes, you will already have that done. You will not have to worry about it. If something does change, however, and it is in the Supreme Court decides you do not need it, we will make sure that everything that we're sending out to voters, there will be an insert in your absentee ballot, which will instruct voters on what the proper procedure is at that time.
Just give us a rundown on the witness signature. Can it be anyone? Does it have to be notarized? What is a witness signature?
So the witness signature does not need to be notarized, and it can be anyone.
Great. Okay. So maybe just to be on the safe side, get a witness signature, make sure that they are able to put that on their absentee ballot. So you have covered mailing in your ballot. It includes postage, so you don't have to worry about that. Just a question, how safe is mailing in your ballot? For example, how far is your ballot going to travel once it leaves your house? Where is it going in Charleston County?
So once it leaves your house, it's coming back to my office in North Charleston. When we get those, we will then process them and check them in. And that's on the back of your envelope, your absentee envelope, there will be some tracking information, and it will give you a chance to sign up to show you how you can track your ballot. We'll have a specific barcode for that voter attached to that envelope that will be able to track it through the system as it leaves our facility, goes to your house, and then comes back to our facility. So you'll be able to get an email or a text message on each single piece once it gets checked in at each postal office along the way.
So after you receive your ballot and you send it back in, you can check and see where your ballot is in the process of getting to you.
That's correct.
I believe you can just go on Track My Ballot on your website. Is that correct?
Yes. So if you go to our website, there's a big piece that shows you how to track your ballot. But also, if you don't go to our website, it will be on the back of your envelope, your absentee envelope. It will give you all that same information.
Is there a postmark deadline for sending back your absentee ballot?
No, but we do have to have the absentee ballot in our possession by 7 p.m. on election day.
Okay. And what happens if I look to track my ballot and I don't see it getting to your office? Is there something I can do?
Yes, I would instruct you to call our office. We are in constant contact with the local Charleston United States Postal Service branch and the statewide Postal Service branch. We've been in contact with them for years. We have a very good relationship with them. We'll do everything that we can to track that ballot down.
Talk about the drop-off options. You mentioned that. You have your absentee ballot. You have decided you don't want to mail it in. Where can you physically go to drop it off and when?
So the biggest location that you can do that is at our main headquarters location at 4367 Headquarters Road in North Charleston. You would have to come inside and you can drop that off with one of our staff. We will check that ballot in. However, if you don't want to come to North Charleston, you can go to any one of the satellite absentee locations. So just to let you know which ones those are, you'll only be able to drop that off during the hours that they are open, because we have to have someone attending the ballot box in order to receive it. So on October 5th through November 2nd, we will be able to have you drop that off in North Charleston at the North Charleston Coliseum. Starting on October 19th, you'll be able to, in Mount Pleasant, drop it off at Seacoast Church in Mount Pleasant on Long Point Road. On October 19th, starting in West Ashley, you'll be able to drop it off at the Seacoast Church on Savannah Highway. And downtown on October 19th, you'll be able to start dropping your absentee ballot off at the Charleston County Public Library on Calhoun Street.
Great. When I drop off my absentee ballot at one of these places, can I also drop off a family member's ballot at the same time?
Yes, you can, as long as you have filled out the authorized representative form. Each absentee ballot by mail will have an authorized representative form added to that information that you receive, and there will be instructions for how to do that and who can do that.
Great. On election day, if I decide to drop off my absentee ballot on election day at my polling place, can I do that? And will I bypass the actual line that other voters are standing in? Can I drop it off in a drop box, or do I have to hand it to a poll worker?
No, unfortunately, South Carolina state law does not allow you on election day to drop off your absentee ballot at a polling place. You have to come to our office in North Charleston to drop that off. We are the only location on election day where you can drop a ballot off.
So you cannot drop off an absentee ballot the day off election day at any location, polling place, except for the election office. What if I got my absentee ballot, but I changed my mind? I no longer want to fill in an absentee ballot. I want to go to my polling place or my early polling place and do my vote in person. What do I do with that absentee ballot? Do I bring it with me?
So there are a couple options. Our first option is going to encourage you to go ahead and vote that paper ballot. That is the easiest option. It's going to take the least amount of time to do, because you can just drop that ballot off at that location. However, if you insist that you want to vote on one of the machines at one of the early voting sites, you can do that. However, you're going to be put into a separate line and have to take a little bit more time, because what we're going to need is either you to surrender that ballot if you bring it with you, or if you have not received it, it still is going to probably come to your house. And so we're going to talk to you about the possibility of you trying to vote twice. And if you try to do that, we will prosecute that to SLED.
That was going to be a question of mine. So that is a safeguard against voting twice. Let's go now to early absentee voting in person. So the 4 locations I will go over with on the next screen where you go to vote early this year in Charleston County. Do you need to bring an ID with you when you vote in person?
You will. And one of those IDs, there are 5 different IDs that you can bring in South Carolina. They are South Carolina driver's license, South Carolina picture ID issued by the Department of Motor Vehicles, a U.S. military ID, U.S. passport, or the South Carolina voter registration card with a photo. Any one of those 5 you will need to bring in order to come vote absentee and on election day. If you choose to vote on election day, those same photo IDs apply.
Will early voting still take place on an actual voting machine?
Yes, early voting, or absentee voting as we call it, will take place on an actual voting machine.
Can you just explain very briefly the safety measures of voting in person? Do I have to wear a mask, and should I bring my own pen?
So currently, you are not required to bring your own mask. We will have masks available if you do not have one. Social distancing will be practiced. All of our workers will have masks, face shields. There will be also cleaning that goes on. You will be handed a long Q-tip in order to touch the voting machines. You do not need to bring your own pen. Currently, we are working on technology that will be employed on Monday that will allow you to digitally sign in order to check in at that location, absentee-wise and on election day.
In-person voting on election day. How can I confirm my polling place and location?
The best place to go is at scvotes.gov. Go ahead and do that now. And also, I will add, if you have not checked on your voter registration to ensure that your address is correct, or you've had a name change, you can do that at any time prior to election day. And I would encourage you to go ahead and do that. And once you've done that, you can at that same time check your voting location to ensure that you're going to the correct place on election day.
Between what hours can I vote on election day?
Election day hours are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And if you are still in line at 7 p.m., if you've gotten there at 6:59 p.m., you will not be turned away. At 7 p.m., we will cut the line off. Now, if that line takes until 10 p.m. to process, it will take until 10 p.m., but you will still be allowed to vote.
How confident are you that all the ballots, especially the absentee ballots, will be counted?
I am 100% confident in that. We will count every single absentee ballot, even if we're going past election day. And just so everyone knows, in 2012 and 2016, that did occur. We've had so many absentee ballots by mail that it did take us until Wednesday to finish completing reading all of those in.
Poll workers. I actually applied to be a poll worker. I will be a poll worker on Election Day. Do you still need poll workers?
Yes, we will. We want to really boost our poll worker numbers more than we normally do. In a presidential election, we normally have anywhere between 800 and 900 poll workers. We're really trying to boost up to a 1,200 number. And so we are currently doing that right now. And I appreciate you signing on to work for us, because we need those people. We need very educated, rounded out people to work our polls on Election Day so that people can get in and out. Our voters can be able to be processed quickly.
Could you tell everyone where you go to apply to be a poll worker and what the deadline is?
So currently we do not have a deadline on it. We're really trying to open it up as much as possible, but you can go to jobs.chsvotes.com to apply to be a poll worker in Charleston County.
My last question is, how many ballots do you expect to be cast in Charleston County this year for the general election?
So I expect we'll at least have a third of the 303,000 registered voters that we have. So currently, like I've told you, we've had 50,000 people apply for a ballot by mail. I expect that same number, if not more, to also do the in-person absentee voting. And generally on an election day for a presidential election, we have at least 125,000 people vote just on election day. So with those numbers, we're going to be at least somewhere in the 60 to 80% range of our voters voting.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for clarifying everything. Appreciate it, and have a good day.
Too. Thank you, Pamela.
Thanks for spending your time with the Voice for Mount Pleasant podcast by Mount Pleasant Magazine. Your community, your podcast. Listen to past episodes at voiceformp.com.